Bonsoir, merci de nous retrouver sur le plateau spécial de l'Express. Ce soir, exceptionnellement, l'émission sera en anglais parce que ce soir, nous pourrons aborder justement le sujet de Mastercard. Et pour nous que ça, avec nous ce soir, nous prenons M. Shehryar Ali, qui est le Senior Vice President and Country Manager for East Africa and Indian Ocean Islands at Mastercard. Et maintenant, l'émission sera en anglais. So, like I said in the introduction, tonight the show will be mostly in English, and we'll be talking mostly about Mastercard, digital innovation in Mauritius. And to talk about all this, we have on this show Mr. Shehryar Ali, the Senior Vice President and Country Manager for East Africa and Indian Ocean Islands at Mastercard. Mr. Ali, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much. Really happy to be here today.
So as we'll be talking about Mastercard, I would like to ask you if you could just simply explain to our viewers what is Mastercard, mostly so people can understand the flow of the show.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a very good question because if you think about our name, Mastercard, it says card. So then what happens is that most people think we are just card.
It's just a card, yes.
And I'll be happy to tell you, we are actually a technology company. Yes, card is where we have started. However, we have diversified tremendously. Today, we are into remittances, account-based payments, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and a host of other services, which today make up Mastercard. And we're really happy that those innovations, especially in East Africa and most especially in Mauritius, are now coming to life.
This has been made clear. Mastercard opened a new office in Mauritius at the end of 2023. Yeah. What is the impact so far, and what plans do you have for the Mauritius market moving forward?
So we believe that being close to your customers and in the markets that you're operating in is critical for you to understand the pain points that exist there. What is the friction that the customer goes through when they're making a payment? And then what kind of value can be designed there. So when we intentionally came in and we said, okay, we have to have our office here, we have to have our teams on the ground so that they can be closer to our customers, it was with the purpose that we are going to together curate solutions which make an impact. So we are delighted. This is a historic moment for us because Juice 5.0 is going live with the Juice Tap functionality facilitated by Mastercard, where now you can actually take your phone and tap whenever you want to make a payment. And for your safety and security, there's tokenization that we have embedded inside of it. So that's a great example where now Juice Tap customers can go globally and actually just use their same phone and tap and make their payments and walk away. Takes away the friction, amazing user experience, safe and secure. And so we're really delighted that our investment and opening of our office and so many other commitments that we've made to Mauritius are coming to life.
As you mentioned, it Juice Tap, the new application. Maybe mostly people will ask about security aspect. Like it can tend to be like if someone just walks across your phone, you can take your money. That's how people will say it. Can you just reassure the viewers about the security aspects of the Juice Tap?
So that's a very important question. And tokenization as a technology is something that we need to explain to the customers so that it's easy to comprehend. So what tokenization does is that your actual card PAN number, the 16 digits that's on your card, it covers that. It does not let that get exposed. In fact, a token which is linked to your card is generated for every transaction. And what that token then enables you to do, for example, here's a shocker in the news, I pay with my ring. Okay. This ring has my card token inside of it as a passive wearable. So I can go all over the world. I can forget my phone at home, my wallet at home. I can still go and make a payment. So this tokenization technology puts my mind at ease because I know that my actual card details are still with me. If a transaction happens, let's say somebody tries to defraud me by bringing the machines closer or something, immediately an alert comes to my phone. And I have the controls on the phone to block my card or my wearables or my phone. So with that kind of control in your own hands, then it gives you that sense of comfort that yes, the security is there. But that's part of the customer part of the security. Mastercard also invests heavily into cybersecurity assets. And we've been using AI for the last 20 years for both preventative security measures and reactive security measures once an event has happened. And where we look at velocity checks, we look at geo-positioning of the transactions, we look at the frequency, we look at a number of other aspects, including a very new buy that we have done with New Detect, a company which actually sees how you normally hold your phone and how you were holding your phone when this particular transaction happened. What is your typing speed? A host of other factors that you'll find quite trivial, but it really helps us in scoring the transaction in a way that when the issuer receives that transaction for approval, they say, this looks suspicious, this doesn't. Approve the one that doesn't and decline the one that does. So I think those kind of innovations in the cybersecurity field should give our customers that sense of comfort and trust.
As we are talking about cybersecurity, before moving to the next question, I would like to just ask another question about cybersecurity. You were talking about it earlier, about those fake calls that we get from, I don't know what type of numbers, and just ask for our details and do transactions. Can you just talk a bit about this and the security measures about this also?
Yes, and I think that's a very good question because beyond all the controls that we as Mastercard have placed in and our dear customers have placed in, when we think through a social engineering of sorts where people are, called, they're vulnerable, or they trusted somebody and tended to follow their instructions, I think there needs to be a massive awareness campaign to that effect, that you mustn't share the following set of sensitive data with anybody. And if somebody does reach out from your bank or your financial institutions, there are agreed protocols with which they should reach out. And there should be authentication. That's why Mastercard is very happy and proud that we have brought in the passkey. A passkey is when you look at your phone and the phone scans your face in 3D and validates that this is the person who owns the phone and is doing the transaction. So with our passkey technology, which again, and a great example that I'll share with you, is we have launched something called Click to Pay. Do you use Netflix, Spotify, Google?
Yes.
You do? Okay. So now what we've done with passkey is that you actually take a card. A token of that card is then registered in our directory service called the Click to Pay directory. Every time a transaction has to happen with Spotify, Netflix, Google, Facebook, Alibaba, whatever, your actual card data stays in the directory, but a token goes out. Yeah. And then the transaction is approved or declined based on your available funds, etc. And what that enables you to do is when you're checking out through an e-commerce experience, I don't have to fill in my card number. And I don't have to watch behind my shoulders who's watching while I'm filling out my card number. So you actually just press the Click to Pay button and the transaction happens. So there, it's an element of security because your actual credentials stay safe. There's an element of convenience because you can actually pay, just like when you go to a shop, you pay by tapping or dipping your card. Same, online should not be any different, right? So with this tokenization technology, which again is present in JuiceTap, you can actually even use it online and make your payments. Yeah.
So for online payments, I know you have to also put the CVV on the back of the card, the 3-digit number. So with the tokenization, you don't need to.
You don't need to. Because it's the CVV, the card number, the expiry number, everything is already in the directory service. So you just simply have to click. So if you want to book right now, if you go and register your card on our directory service and then go straight to, I don't know, Qatar Airways or other airlines website to get a ticket issued, don't press enter and I'll enter my card number. No, just press Click to Pay and your transaction is going to go straight through. You will have an OTP that will come to you.
Yes.
But that's just a secondary layer of security.
So another question, Mr. Ali. A Mastercard Commission report by Genesis Analytics projects that Africa's digital payments economy will reach $1.5 trillion by 2030. What opportunities does this present for businesses and consumers?
So, Africa is a huge continent with, I think if you think about the construct, we have kind of deciphered into three special verticals. Number one, what's the backbone of the African economy? It's the SMEs. 90% of the employment is SMEs. 50% of the GDP of Africa is SMEs. So our strategy is anchored on looking at the SMEs and their pain points, whether it's access to credit or whether it's access to easy ways of payment where the data gets recorded, and then can be used to underwrite for credit. Because the banks, if you go to them and ask for a loan, if you don't have any data, they will ask for collateral, right? And it makes you very uncomfortable every time you have to say, okay, let me put my land as a collateral or my car as a collateral. No, that's not the best way to do lending. So what we want to do is listen to the SME's pain points and then ensure that we digitize all the payments so that there's a record. And then that record can be taken to the banks and the banks can underwrite it. Second vertical outside of SMEs is fintechs. Again, they have shown great positive results. Mastercard Start Path program, which has got 400 fintech graduates already. That program, it has garnered about $25 billion of investment into these fintechs. And so when we think about proliferating, yes, financial institutions are there, governments are there, telcos are there, merchants are there, but fintechs, they, we believe, can really unlock financial inclusion. And we want them to focus on their core functionality. Embedded finance, you leave it to us. We will get that to happen in their apps. They should do, let's say, if it's education tech or insurance tech or fintech or whatever else.
Yes.
We want the financial part to be burden to be taken away. We have plug-and-play modules which we can plug in to empower the fintechs, and then they can just do their business. And they, fintechs like to grow fast. They don't like the friction. In addition to they're looking for investors, but then they want to avoid friction. So we try to make the life of fintechs a bit easier by having these support systems for them. Yeah. And then last but not least, diaspora. So Africa has a huge influx of, I think, close to $100 billion of remittances coming in. Even in Mauritius, there are, I think, more than 150,000 people who work really hard outside and then send money back into Mauritius. Should it not be our duty to make it very easy, simple, frictionless, and economically rightly priced? So today they're paying between 5 to 6% every time they have to send money in. With the Mastercard Diaspora Send solution, which is live with MCB Bank in Mauritius, you can actually just take any card issued anywhere in the world as a diaspora, send the money to an account number of yourself or your loved ones in Mauritius, and avail that ease. So we need to make those ways of influx both from a foreign currency received perspective and, of course, a convenience for diaspora perspective to really shore up Africa's growth trajectory.
Mr. Ali. And we know that Mastercard has been a long-standing technology partner in Africa. Can you tell us a bit more about the investments and innovations that are being made to drive digital transformation?
Sure. So, well, it's a historic day today because we have, Juice 5.0 going live, Juice Tap functionality is going live, and Maurice Auster, Nukapav, Juice Tap. And, I would say everybody should just go and make sure that they make the most of this functionality. Now, that's just one example, where now not only for physical transactions, but also for e-commerce transactions, you can actually use the same app. Secondly, if you think about the SMEs from a cost of acceptance perspective, you will notice that most of the time when you go to a small shop, you may not find the PDQ that's generally used because it's expensive. It's about $275 to $300. So for them, how are we making it easier as Mastercard? So we had to be very innovative in saying that, okay, let's do QR, pay by link, or tap on phone. And recently, an example in Singapore that has really done well for us is cloud commerce, which we have brought to Africa. So the idea is that I am a merchant, I want to sell, and I want to accept payments in the most interoperable of ways. So I don't need any hardware. I should just take my phone, download my cloud commerce app. When somebody comes, they can tap on my phone now, make the payment, I'll receive it, and they walk away. So that, again, makes it easier for the SMEs to receive payments. Yeah. Then there are a number of other innovations, like I said, about wearables. For the youth, what is the African demographic? It's the youth between 19 and 22 years of age. And they like to live their lives on their own terms, the Gen Alphas, the Gen Zs. for us, maybe it's the phone, which we use for tapping. Maybe for them, it's about, hey, I wake up in the morning, I wear my band or my glasses, and if I want to tokenize them for making payments, then I should be allowed to do that and able to do that. So in Kenya, we've launched this with 3 banks already, where you could actually just tokenize a wearable like this ring, go make a payment anywhere, and you don't need to worry about anything because it doesn't look like a card and it doesn't look like it has any data in there anyways, right? So nobody knows. So it's even more secure. And above a certain limit of transaction, we ask for the one-time password again or the PIN. So you have nothing to lose because your experience stays the same, secure, trustworthy, but convenient. And mind you, when I went around in Mauritius paying with my ring, I got a few smiles from the merchants, which doesn't happen often.
Because it's cool to pay with a ring.
Correct.
And to talk about the cross-border payments that are critical for trade and economic growth in Africa, how is Mastercard simplifying cross-border transactions to support businesses and individuals?
So you see, there are 2 ways to manage cross-border. So one is that you are importing goods, right? So Mastercard has our Mastercard cross-border services, which is another method outside of SWIFT, whereby, let's say, China has made our tariffs for Africa 0. So we are seeing a big surge of importers from China coming up and asking for, hey, how do I make my trade easy with China? So Mastercard cross-border services is not, again, on the card rails. It's nothing to do with cards. It's actually, you take money from your account, it goes straight through the Mastercard rails. There's no correspondent bank in the middle where you're like, oh, where did my money go? I have to wait for 2 to 3 days. It's instant. And the money reaches the recipient. You may have sent money through SWIFT and you may have noticed that the receiving party receives $20, $30 short. Yes. Because in the middle, the fees are taken.
The fees.
So that's exactly what we have solved for, because we want the exact absolute amount to reach the end party. We are present in more than 180 countries. We deal with more than 80 plus currencies. And so Mastercard, I'm proud to share that in Saudi Arabia, we are the #1 player in terms of sending money. And that's something that most of the viewers may not be aware of. But I think when you're looking at Mastercard, we are to be looked at as a tech company where cards is one angle, but then we do accounts, we do remittances, and cybersecurity and a host of other things.
And looking forward to the future of commerce in the era of AI, what is Mastercard's vision of intelligent commerce?
So, you see, this is where things get interesting. You and I are individuals and we have preferences, yeah? So, if I want that the Internet of Things around me should know me better, should know my preferences better, then I can switch that on. I should have the power to switch that off so that my fridge knows what kind of food I want to keep in there. I don't know, my car needs to know my preferences in terms of how I like to drive, yeah? And when I don't want them to know, I switch them off. So the control stays with us so that we are comfortable. But when it comes to Mastercard, we have something called the Mastercard Intelligent Agent. Now, this agent, we call her Maya, so Mastercard Intelligent Agent. Maya can actually do a number of things for you. She can book your air tickets and accommodation whilst you're talking to her using a large language model. And Maya can be a male or a female avatar, whatever you need as your business model. And she takes care of everything. Like does your travel booking, does your hotel booking, knows your preferences about you like aisle seat or window seat, or what kind of food you need to order on the airline and what kind of rooms you prefer. So that kind of intelligence which knows me when I want to be known is welcome, because it enables me to focus on other things which are more creative than worry about, are my preferences taken care of? Now, replicate that in a bank. Wouldn't we want that a bank should know my needs before I reach that point of graduation, that, okay, I'm going for educational studies abroad, or it's time for me to get a mortgage because I want to buy a house, I just got married, I don't know. Whatever the social norms are, shouldn't the bank have those data lakes set up? There should be a propensity-based analysis on what the customer would be looking for at different stages in their lives. And then reach out to the customer before the customer comes knocking on your door and saying, I need X, Y, Z. that just changes how you feel as a customer, because you feel valued, you feel that the bank understands you.
Yes.
And so the affinity, the loyalty, the value, the convenience, it just creates a stronger bond. So I am a big proponent of artificial intelligence with the right structures and governance around it. And of course, the ultimate control of being switched off or switched on should be with you and me, and not with a third party.
So you join those people who say that AI makes payments smarter?
I think so. Because another aspect of our AI work has been around, let's say we shop for clothes. Sometimes you go to a store and the store says, hey, I don't have this item, but why don't you go online? Now that dims our experience a little bit, because we're like, okay, I wouldn't be able to wear it and see. Yeah. So our AI technology enables you to actually go, and we are live with this in a number of continents, where you can actually go, choose a garment. It takes your picture, gives you a 3D view of how it'll make you look with that color and all of that before you put it in your basket to check out. So I think it's all about how do you elevate the current experiences to be a bit more of a joy, and you connect with what your transactional experience is in a different way, where it adds value. And so I think we're always looking out for those pain points, and AI is a big enabler in bringing context, convenience, trust, and at the same time, shorter time spans, because we have less time now, right? So we'd like somebody to know us a little better to get things done. Yeah.
And maybe my last question would be about Mastercard, which emphasizes providing innovative financial products and services. I would like to ask you about how Mastercard helped in supporting the digital economy, since many governments talk about digital sovereignty also.
No, correct. So I think protection of the digital economy is sacrosanct, because trust is all we have. Yeah, and that's the baseline of all Mastercard solutions. So especially when we look at, and we work very closely with a lot of governments, and when I talked about diaspora send and remittances being a key pillar of the $1.5 trillion vision that we have for Africa, we know that foreign currency, because there's a lot of countries which have to repay their debts. So the foreign currency is in scarce supply. So what does Mastercard enable? If you enable all of your merchants in Mauritius to accept tourist cards when they come in, or tourist phones, or tourist wearables, when they come in, what happens? When the transaction happens, foreign currency comes into Mauritius. So one, we need to ensure that there is widespread acceptance of foreign cards. That will shore up foreign currency in the market. Secondly, remittances. Again, these are hardworking, with their blood, sweat, and tears, Mauritians working outside, sending money back home. Make it as easy and cheap for them to send the money. What will happen? Again, foreign currency comes into the country. And so when you take, I've just given you one example of how a government can actually benefit from these technologies that we're talking about. This comes to mind. And then governments are superbly serious about enabling trade. So when we talked about the Mastercard cross-border services, that's exactly what we do. We power up trade operating platforms whereby you can do your trades with China and India and France and South Africa, all the key corridors for Mauritius, whilst using our Mastercard cross-border services. So I think what we are doing is staying very close. Even whilst we were here, had a great engagement with Mauritius Bankers Association, heard what's happening in the market, and our engineering team, we have a great, fun, joyful team who loves creative challenges. So they're working right away on the new, friction points and pain points that we need to solve for, to go back to the market with and say, hey, we heard you, and here's the solution.
And allow me to conclude with this question. I know there are a lot of SMEs watching this show tonight. Can you just remind the SMEs how Mastercard is supporting them with digital tools that foster financial inclusion and resilience?
So I think let's look at the SMEs from a pain point perspective. The SMEs are, number one, let's say if I'm an SME in Port Louis, my coverage area could be 5 kilometers around me, a radius. When they can put their storefront online, what does that do? that opens them to a world. Firstly, all of Mauritius, and secondly, the world. So that enables them to sell to a bigger market base. And our Mastercard cutting-edge payment gateway service is live today we have with MCB, SBM has it, there are a host of others who have it. And you as an SME can go there and diversify your market capture space, and sell more. So that's one. Number two is, so one thing on the previous point is that you will still record the data, because every time a transaction happens, the data gets recorded. Number two, we say low-cost acceptance. So QR-based payments, already MoCAS is live, yes. And now we're talking about cloud commerce, where you don't need any hardware. You can use your phone, and that phone, any person can come and tap their card and walk away. So by doing so, again, data points are generated. Now, as the cash flows of the SME come under stress, what does the SME need? So they may want to grow their business. They want to diversify their supply chain. They may want a number of other things, open up another shop. Now for that, they have to go to a lender. Yeah. So what do they go to the lender with? I personally believe that if they go with the set of data sets which shows that, look, I've got so much of transaction inflows, I have an e-commerce place where I actually sell, so you can go and validate me that I'm a legit business, and you should be lending to me without asking me for a collateral at the right rate.
Yes.
I think then you're actually, as an SME, feeling that, yes, the system understands me now better. But for the SMEs, the challenge is for them to show themselves. If to avoid, I don't know, sometimes taxation, sometimes other things, you want to say, no, I will only take cash. Well, then you're limiting yourself from the get-go, because you're not visible, and therefore the banks will not reach out to you, or you will not get credit lines. So it's one of those things where we would like for them to have the basis on which they can actually get investment, get credit lines, grow their business, reach a bigger audience. And I think the SMEs will be better off that way.
Mr. Ali, thank you for this beautiful conversation tonight about Mastercard, and also, like you said, Asté nous capable, just tap.
Just tap. Yes, and Mastercard is priceless.
Mastercard is priceless. Thank you, Mr. Ali, for this beautiful conversation for l'Express tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Donc, c'était une jolie conversation avec M. Shehryar Ali. Nous rappelons les autres qui nous filment ce soir, cause très bien sur le Mastercard et aussi sur le Juice Tab. M. Shehryar Ali, il est le Senior Vice President and Country Manager for East Africa and Indian Ocean Islands at Mastercard. Pour rendre cette émission-là possible, nous disons merci à toute l'équipe vidéo, Patrice Lajoie, Abel Pell, Ken Oliver Penelope, Andy Cupidon et Prix de Vie. Et merci à l'équipe photographe qui est de nous pour mettre cette émission-là en place. Merci et bonne soirée.